Hi guys, I hope you're having a great week. My name is Caitlin Chasen and I'm going to be talking about informed consent today. I googled informed consent for my state, which is Florida, and I came across a counseling location in St. Petersburg, and the lady's name was Deborah Cross. And I'm just going to kind of go over some of the stuff on the informed consent that I thought was interesting, that I liked, or that was new information to me, and things that I just kept in the back of my mind for one day whenever I make an informed consent. First she discussed her services. So she talked about who she provided services for, and that was individuals, families, couples, and then also specialized group therapy. And next, she discussed the length of her therapy and what that looks like for her clients. Some clients will have longer sessions and some won't. And then she discussed that her services are voluntary, and that the client had been court ordered for therapy. Then a copy of this documentation has to be provided prior to the next counseling session. She discussed appointments, that normal stuff. Emergencies, of course, if you can't get up with her and it's an emergency, of course, call 911, go to the hospital, that good stuff. And then a part that I liked about it was she had therapist information. So I looked up quite a few informed consents just because I had never really looked into them. And one part I really enjoyed about hers was that she did give background on who she was, what her education was, because there was quite a few that I saw that just listed the confidentiality and all those different things that they would not breach, and didn't tell them, they didn't mention, hi, I'm blah blah blah, and I had this, this is how long I've been counseling, this is my specialty. So she included that she had a master's, actually from Liberty University, which is funny. She even gave her licensure number, so you can see that she's really licensed, and that who is her supervisor, and all of that good stuff. She mentioned fees, that good stuff. Safety, termination, social media was a great thing, because I think even if people have been counseling for a long time, they have to keep up with what's current. And what's current is social media. Social media is a large part of our society, and it is definitely something that I think should be mentioned in one of these informed consent forms. And she just discussed how, email, text, Facebook, social media accounts, those will not be used to counsel her clients or to communicate with them, because that's unprofessional. And she will not talk to them through these things. She also just said that occasionally she will send a text saying, hey, here's your appointment time, but she will not reach out to them any more than that. So that was good to know that she included that. But let's get to the actual, confidentiality part. So she just shared that the information would not be shared unless it was shared with consultants, supervisors, your insurance company, unless you present a danger to yourself or others. If any kind of abuse or neglect is happening to a child, elderly, individual, or disabled person, she is required by the state of Florida to report that. And then if you sign a specific release form saying you can talk about this, then she will discuss it, or unless she has a court order. So pretty standard on that. She also mentions the benefits and the risks of therapy, and how basically with everything, and with therapy included, there are benefits and risks. So therapy will dive in and dig deep in some situations for some people, and for mostly everybody, I feel like there will be something in therapy that makes you feel uncomfortable or that you don't really want to discuss. And she just says basically that doing these things can bring up negative thoughts, make you feel guilty, feel shame, just feel those negative feelings while dealing with things that were negative in your life. I do like how she said it. She said that the feelings are difficult but a natural part of the psychotherapeutic process and often provide the basis for change. So these are really important, and she just, at the end, she just gave a little list of the client's rights. You have the right to X, Y, and Z. You have the right to blah, blah, blah. And I really like how she set that up. It was very professional. But moving into the part where it's in comparison with my state, which is Florida, and then also the ACA Code of Ethics, I checked out both websites, and the Code of Ethics was definitely a lot more heavy. They were more like professional with their wording, but you can tell that it was a Code of Ethics versus counselors who make it for clients to read. They can't, include a novel like the Code of Ethics did. But same kind of was with the state of Florida. But honestly, as I was reviewing and looking through, I didn't find many differences. Honestly, I didn't see any. So pretty much Florida seemed to line up with the Code of Ethics and with kind of with this informed consent that I chose. Definitely, there was a few things that the Code of Ethics did mention that were not mentioned in the informed consent, and I will mention those things. So those were, let me find them. They didn't mention confidentiality in regarding to end-of-life decisions or contagious life-threatening diseases. Which those I'm sure are rare, but I think that they should still be included just in case that is your client situation. But yeah, that was the only big things. There was also something about deceased clients and how you will continue to keep your confidentiality even after your client passes away if they do. So that was another thing. But all of the huge main points that every client needs to know before they go into counseling was definitely mentioned, and I think that the informed consent that I read was pretty well, and I'm sure there's a few small things that she could improve on, but other than that, I mean, she did a great job at informing her clients of the risks, the benefits, her services, the fees, insurance, any of the confidentiality issues, and overall, I feel like I got a better understanding of the informed consent, the Code of Ethics, and as well as reviewing over Florida's. And so that was awesome, and I look forward to reading you guys' discussion post and commenting, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye.